Hello everyone, Jonathan Schlack, EAS&Weather here, with your Day 2 outlook, which is tomorrow's outlook. We have a slight risk for severe weather across far southeastern corner of Wyoming, west central and southwestern Nebraska, much of eastern half of Colorado, northwestern Kansas, extreme northeastern New Mexico, and the very far, extreme northwestern corner of the Oklahoma Panhandle. So we have a slight for tomorrow, and we have a marginal that covers south central and southeastern Montana, southwestern North Dakota, western South Dakota, far northern and eastern Wyoming, much of Nebraska, much of Kansas, central Colorado, northeastern New Mexico, northwestern Texas, and much of the Oklahoma Panhandle. Going further east, we have a slight risk that covers the northeastern part of the West Virginia Panhandle, north central Maryland, central and eastern Pennsylvania, which the slight risk does include my area tomorrow. I'm in the slight risk for tomorrow here in eastern Pennsylvania. The slight risk also goes into northern New Jersey, parts of southeast New York State, just northwest of New York City, the northwestern half of Connecticut, central and western Massachusetts, extreme southeastern Vermont, and south central New Hampshire. So we have a slight risk for tomorrow. And we have a marginal that covers southeastern Ohio, eastern Kentucky, all West Virginia, extreme northeastern Tennessee, extreme northwestern North Carolina, western and northern Virginia, Washington, D.C., most of Maryland, much of Pennsylvania, much of Delaware, much of New Jersey, New York City and Long Island, south central and east central New York State, southeastern half of Connecticut, all of Rhode Island, eastern Massachusetts, much of Connecticut, much of New Hampshire, and much of Maine. So we have a marginal for tomorrow. So, going to each individual risk, we have a 2% chance of an isolated tornado in southwestern Nebraska, northeastern Colorado, and northwestern Kansas. So we have a 2% chance of an isolated tornado tomorrow. And going over to the wind aspect of things, we have a 15% chance of 58 mile per hour wind gusts or higher in southeastern Wyoming, extreme southeastern Wyoming, I should say, west central and southwestern Nebraska, eastern Colorado, northwestern Kansas, extreme northeastern New Mexico, and the very far, extreme northwestern corner of the Oklahoma Panhandle. So we have a 15% chance of 58 mile per hour wind gusts or higher, and we have a 5% chance of 58 mile per hour wind gusts or higher in southeastern Montana, southwestern North Dakota. Oh, sorry, I don't know why it's updated on me. Western South Dakota, much of eastern Wyoming, much of Nebraska, much of Kansas, central Colorado, northeastern New Mexico, northwestern Texas, and much of the Oklahoma Panhandle. And I think I mentioned a lot of Kansas, right? I think I did. A lot of Kansas is included in that too. But anyway, further east, we have a 15% chance. Oh, I forgot to mention the black dashed areas. The black dashed areas are across eastern Colorado, northwestern Kansas, and southwestern Nebraska. The black dashed areas are where we have a 10% chance of hurricane-force wind gusts of 74 miles per hour or higher within the black dashed areas for tomorrow. Now going over to further east, we have a 15% chance of 58 mile per hour wind gusts or higher in northeastern West Virginia, the northeastern part of the Panhandle of West Virginia, north central Maryland, central and eastern Pennsylvania. By the way, I am in the 15% damaging wind risk here in eastern Pennsylvania. That 15% damaging wind risk also goes into North Jersey, the northwestern suburbs of New York City, southeast New York State, northwestern half of Connecticut, central and western Massachusetts, extreme southeastern Vermont, and south central New Hampshire. And there's a 5% chance of 58 mile per hour wind gusts or higher in southeast Ohio, eastern Kentucky, all of West Virginia, extreme northeastern Tennessee, extreme northwestern North Carolina, western and northern Virginia, Washington, D.C., much of Maryland, much of Delaware, much of Pennsylvania, much of New Jersey, south central and east central New York State, New York City and Long Island, southeastern half of Connecticut, Rhode Island, the entirety of Rhode Island, I should say, eastern Massachusetts, much of Vermont, much of New Hampshire, and much of Maine. So, going over to the hail threat for tomorrow, we have a 15% chance of hail of 1 inch in diameter or larger in the extreme southeastern corner of Wyoming, southwestern Nebraska, northeastern Colorado, and the very far extreme northwestern corner of Kansas. And we have a 5% chance of 1 inch in diameter hail or larger in south central and southeastern Montana, southwestern North Dakota, western South Dakota, far northern and eastern Wyoming, much of Nebraska, much of western Nebraska, the western half of Nebraska, I should say, northwestern Kansas, eastern half of Colorado, northeastern New Mexico, and the very far extreme northwestern corner of the panhandle of Oklahoma. So, going further east, there is a 5% chance of hail of 1 inch in diameter or larger in southeastern Ohio, northern West Virginia, northwestern Maryland, the panhandle of Maryland, much of Pennsylvania. My area is right on the cusp of that 5% chance. I'm on the southeastern cusp of that 5% chance of large hail here in eastern Pennsylvania. And that 5% chance of 1 inch in diameter hail or larger goes into northern New Jersey, south central and eastern New York State, northwestern Connecticut, northwestern Massachusetts, the western half of Massachusetts, I should say, southern half of Vermont, a lot of New Hampshire, and a lot of Maine. So, and the summary for tomorrow indicates scattered severe storms with large hail and wind gusts of 60 to 80 miles per hour. 60 to 80 miles per hour will be possible from mid-afternoon to the evening on Friday, along the Front Range to the Central Plains. Scattered strong storms with sporadic damaging winds and isolated large hail will be possible across the northeast states during the afternoon to early evening. So, here on Friday. So, severe weather is also expected today in the Midwest. As you can see here, but I already covered that in the previous video. So, if you want information on today, just click on the previous video. But anyway, stay safe in the affected areas both today and tomorrow. So again, I am in the risk area for tomorrow for severe storms, but so I'll be preparing myself and I'll be capturing alerts for my area if any develop. So stay safe in the affected areas today and tomorrow, and be alert for warnings and watches from the National Weather Service. So be safe in the affected areas today and tomorrow, and I will have another update tomorrow. Take care.